Okay.
Dr. Acheng.
Granted. We will have that bill on the floor tomorrow. And Honorable Sarah is just exercising her constitutional mandate under Article 94, 4B of the Constitution of Uganda, and Rule 121 of the Rules of Procedure. I mean, if you don't show a sign and come and do reconciliation with a private member, what do we do? Should we stop working because you're too busy? We can't.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. And I want to thank you for the patience and the guidance. Right Honorable Speaker, I remember I appeared before you and the Honorable Sarah Opendi. You advised us that we should wait for the Attorney General, and because of the reasons that you had given in my case, and we waited for the Attorney General, and the Attorney General, we are on your advice that me, as a Minister of Health, private member, and Attorney General, as you have guided, we sit, we reconcile. Even we are not consulted in all of this. We are not against the bill. We are not against the bill. We are only going with the Attorney General per the Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker directed me and Sarah to consult with him. So what is Honorable Pendi? So we agree, Honorable Pendi, we have been waiting for the Attorney General. He is here. So the three of us, we are going to meet and we finish.
Go. Honorable members, Honorable Anifa, Honorable AG, Honorable Sarah, go and harmonize. And the chair of the committee and the vice chair of the committee, go and harmonize.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, it's okay to harmonize, but I'm also aware that the Committee of Health invited various stakeholders, including the Ministry of Health. So since you have guided that we have this bill tomorrow, it is okay with me. I think we'll go and reconcile and get back to you. But I know that the team did an excellent work, Right Honorable Speaker. And when you look at the committee report, yes, they agree with most of the provisions that we actually have in that bill.
You want to debate in anticipation?
No, I'm not debating. I'm just informing you.
No. Go.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Go and do it. Honorable members, in the VIP gallery this afternoon, we have a delegation of officials from Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda, who are part of the joint East African bid that we won the rights to host the African Cup of Nations in 2027. That is AFCON. They include Honorable Kabudi, the Minister of Information, Culture, Art and Sports of United Republic of Tanzania. You're most welcome, Honorable Minister. The Mr. Mushigwa Gerson, the PS Ministry of Information, Culture, Art and Sports, United Republic of Tanzania. You're most welcome. Engineer Peter Tum, the PS of Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports, Republic of Kenya. You're most welcome. And they are accompanied here by the Ugandan officials. We have Dr. Gwel. You are most welcome. They are here on a courtesy visit. They've been brought here by Honorable Gwang Peter, the Minister of State for Sports. You're most welcome. Join me in welcoming them. Honorable Ministers and the PSCs, you're most welcome to Parliament of Uganda. And we want to thank you for the work you're doing for AFCON. And Uganda is always home. You're always most welcome home. And we wish you well in the preparation of AFCON 2027. Honorable Minister.
Madam Speaker, first of all, on behalf of the Minister of Education and Sports, the First Lady, on behalf of the FA President Uganda, Kenya and Tanzania, and on behalf of CAF, in a special way, I would like to begin by thanking Parliament for supporting the Pamoja bid AFCON 2027 and CHAN 2024. Colleagues, we have just concluded a very important meeting here in Uganda under the invitation of CAF. CAF is the Confederation of African Football. I would like to thank my colleagues, the Honorable Ministers of Sports from Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. And I want to say thank you for coming home. This is our National Assembly. You're most welcome. I also want to thank the permanent secretaries of the 3 East African countries of Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. I've been corrected here by the leader of opposition that I should say, Karibu Nyumbani Sana, in the spirit of East Africa. Friends, I want to conclude by saying it's a reality. Beginning 2nd of August 2025, we will be hosting 19 countries of the African continent in the CHAN competition here in Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. We have just concluded an inspection by CAF 2 days ago, and I confirm we are ready to welcome Africa to East Africa. I wish you all the best, and I say all this for God and my country. As Uganda, Madam Speaker, in a special way, I would like to thank you for always being there for sports in Uganda. Thank you so much for standing with us whenever we talk about sports in Uganda. I thank you.
Thank you so much. You know, honorable members, Honorable Gwang, yes.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the Minister for the information that he has given, and to the guests that have visited us in Uganda. Welcome to Uganda. However, as you all know, women also play football. So when I see a delegation of men alone, I am wondering where the women are. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to request and appeal to the Minister and to our guests that I hope that there is space for the women to also be part of your delegation. Thank you so much.
Madam Speaker, for the record, Honorable Pendi is aware that the Minister of Education and Sports is a woman, and she's the one who was chairing the meeting. So for the record first, that makes it complete.
Honorable Minister, Honorable Pendi is politely asking that can she give the visitors a push. That is polite.
Madam Speaker, I welcome Honorable Pendi for giving us with your permission. And by the way, our dear guest, Honorable Pendi, comes from Tororo. And when I talk about Tororo, Tororo is at the border between Uganda and Kenya. So we can be able to welcome, to allow with permission from Speaker that we really permit us to allow Honorable Pendi accompany again.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for coming. And as a way to host CHAN, we pray that one of the countries becomes the leader. One of the 3 countries becomes the winner. Either Uganda, Tanzania, or Kenya, because they are all in the 19. No, it is Ubuntu, the principle of Ubuntu. Ubuntu. You know, one time we were asking the president, when we go to Tanzania, I wish we could beat those people. Then the president said, no, Even if they beat, that is our first home. So we are all brothers and sisters. You're welcome, and we thank you so much for coming. Next statement.
Item 3 on the order paper. Statement by the Minister on the Uganda National Examinations Board UNEB grading system under the new curriculum. Response by the Shadow Minister of Education and Sports.
Honourable members, you recall on Thursday, 20th February 2025, the Minister of State, Honourable Peter Ogwang, presented a statement here on the Uganda National Examination Board, UNEB, of the grading system for the new curriculum. We could not debate that statement because the Shadow Minister had to bring a statement to that effect. And now we are ready to receive a statement from the Shadow Minister, and the report should be backed by evidence. Please do.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Last Thursday, when the Prime Minister was responding to national issues, Madam Speaker, you're aware that you had granted me permission to raise an issue about the Kikorongo Pondwe Road. Madam Speaker, December 7th, the President went to Kasese.
Why don't we bring that tomorrow? Tomorrow, when it's Prime Minister's time.
The problem is not the
action.
The problem is not the Prime Minister, Madam Speaker, is the Minister for Finance, because the contractor is already on the side.
We are distorting our proceedings. The flow of proceedings is being distorted. Remember, this is being registered. So the moment we do this, let's finish the debate on the report on education, then you can bring it at the end. The Minister is not going anywhere. He's here.
Much obliged, Madam Speaker. I'm going to raise it after the report.
Honorable
Thank you.
Shadow.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And before I read the report, it would be fair if I don't talk about the Pope as a Catholic and an evolved one. Allow me also to say my prayers and pray for our Pope. And you are luckier than me. For you see her regularly with even the twins. We want to thank God for your blessing. I have not seen him physically, but we are praying. He went to South Sudan. You see what he did there, and there's some light of hope there. But I also pray for the Pope. Madam Speaker and honorable members, allow me to read this statement from the Shadow Minister as the speakers are giving me this space. Madam Speaker and colleagues, the government, through the Ministry of Education and Sports, presented a proposal to Parliament to allow the rollout of the new lower secondary curriculum in February 2020 with the aim of ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. This was, however, met with the mixed reactions as seen in the Hansard reports of February 4th, 18th and 20th of 2020. The implementation of the new lower secondary curriculum was compromised by inadequate teacher training, insufficient learning materials, lack of enough infrastructure, and the absence of pilot studies as an assessment methodologies. The proposal's initial rejection was overturned through cabinet intervention, which required ongoing stakeholder engagement to improve it. However, the government and Ministry of Education and Sports are still working to overcome the difficulties that arose from this situation 4 years ago. Additionally, Madam Speaker, under this new curriculum, assessment is assumed to be competent-based. However, the reality on the ground is different. Competence learning calls for investment in school infrastructure development to handle learners' needs, For example, there should be availability of computer laboratories with electricity and internet, ICT lessons, well-equipped laboratories for science lessons, libraries for research work, learning materials, and teachers' guidances. Additionally, Madam Speaker, the combination of old and new curricula plus overcrowding and teacher shortages with a ratio of almost 1 to 100 made it impossible for most schools to focus on competence-based learning. Furthermore, Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Education and Sports inability to recruit and deploy teachers for core subjects like Swahili, religious education, physical education, and entrepreneurship at senior 1 and 2 level is hindering the successful implementation of the new curriculum. Madam Speaker, could we receive an update on the Ministry's progress in addressing this critical issue on staffing gaps? The National Curriculum Development Center reviewed and approved certain textbooks for use in schools. However, Madam Speaker, additional resources were made available on the NCDC website. Some educators have raised concerns that the content of these books may vary, creating uncertainty among teachers regarding the occurrence of the study materials. Therefore, there has been a glaring issue on the many uncontrolled publishers of instructional materials of both teachers and students. The government failed to supply enough books in schools, neither did it commit on which books to be used by both the teachers and students. This left schools to improvise, leading to many of them purchasing any book they found on the market, many of which have very shallow information on the topics. Others decided to continue using the ones of the old curriculum. Further, the lack of sensitization and communication on the new grading system led to widespread confusion and discontent among key stakeholders, who are the students, parents, and educators, following the release of 2024 Uganda Certificate of Education results. Madam Speaker, key issues: reporting and grading certification. Right Honourable Speaker, according to the release statement issued by UNEB, Director, and I quote, actually, Mama, during implementation, there were challenges. This is UNEB. Mama, during implementation, there were challenges encountered such as lack of efficient IT infrastructure in many schools, which was a major constraint in the ability for schools to make timely submissions of continuous assessment scores to UNEB. The volumes of data that UNEB must receive and store requires larger capacity servers at UNEB. There is the challenge of shortage of school laboratory facilities. The new curriculum, being skills-based, requires that science labs and workshops are well equipped to give the learners enough chance to create new knowledge through self-learning. Unfortunately, many rural and private schools lack these and are also short of science teachers. In addition, Madam Speaker and colleagues, the new curriculum emphasis on practical application has raised the questions about the relevance of theoretical subjects like history, CRE, and geography to real-life problem solving. Besides, the scoring system consisted of grades A, B, C, D, and E, but the specific marker ranges corresponding to each grade were unclear and ambiguous. Madam Speaker and colleagues, the scores set to UNEB were awarded students by teachers from their continuous assessment from S3 Senior 4 as stated in the new curriculum. Please note that the requirement for schools to print the Uganda National Examination Continuous Assessment Observation Checklist for project work assessment raised the concerns about feasibility, particularly for schools with large numbers and those in remote and hard-to-reach areas. One wonders how schools with thousands of students were supposed to print out these 12-page forms for every learner, every subject. It's worth noting that a ream of papers priced at 25,000 is only sufficient for 44 students. This results in additional expenses for larger schools, which are then passed on to parents, contradicting the government's policy of free education. Furthermore, educators have, actually, Madam Speaker, on this issue of reams, the form that was given was 12 pages, and the school of 600 students had to spend at least 16 million on reams alone, leave alone the printing expenses. But we shall see that. Furthermore, Madam Speaker, educators have expressed concerns regarding inadequate training on utilization, this checklist, which raises questions about the reliability of the assessment results. The evaluation of learners' values, including teamwork, attitudes, morals, and respect, was expected to be a key component of their assessment, but this is not reflected in their scores. How was this measured? The correction and transmission of continuous assessment marks to UNEB for the 20% assessment component posed significant challenges for many schools, which lacked essential infrastructure such as computers, electricity, and internet connectivity. This raises concerns about the accuracy and the reliability of the compiled marks. Credible sources indicate that certain schools awarded marks to students who did not complete project work, raising concerns about the integrity of the results, especially concerning the absence of UNEB's oversight. Can UNEB provide evidence of project work? The fact is, it is not possible. Do schools have storage facilities for project work? It's worth noting that the UNEB application collapsed in September 2024, resulting in significant concern, especially with the alternative method of assessment, in bracket AMIS, being introduced. Many head teachers reported difficulties in uploading continuous assessment marks, and some were even advised to use CDs to record marks and deliver to UNEB for upload. Some schools shared their marks with the neighboring schools. It's unclear whether the UNEB app was under test, but the collapse suggests that the system may not have been fully prepared to handle the volume of users or data. Madam Speaker, a circular issued in September 2024, as I will lay later, introduced changes to the project work, shifting the focus to S3, S4 learners, from S1, S2, and introducing a new theme. These themes are usually sent late. For example, the one for last year was sent in September when some schools had already submitted their project marks to UNEB. This means that the marks that had earlier been submitted were not in line with the UNEB with a new theme. How was this mitigated? Most of the project work requires materials that go at a cost. For example, ingredients to make soap, threads, fibers, and bottles, among others. This calls for a financial burden on the parents, guardians, since these materials are no longer free, especially to town schools. Right now, Speaker, in Kampala City, which is within the proximity of UNEB, training of teachers on project work assessment was done after the submission of results to UNEB. This means that teachers trained learners on what they did not know themselves. It should be noted that UNEB did not supervise the process of project work, neither did it send supervisors to check the final product of the students' work as observed with the art assessment in the old curriculum. Yet, it's an examination that carries 20 of the final mark. It only sent a checklist for the scores. Students were expected to prepare records explaining their activities of project work by school cameramen, and these videos were kept at school. One wonders if there is evidence of these videos in schools or at UNEB. With the rampant examination malpractices, as reported by UNEB, many times sponsored by the teachers, how credible are the results of project work, which is a standalone paper on the passive? Many schools are complaining that some of their students had very good project by UNEB standards, but they were given low grades ranging from B to D. It is unfortunate that parents cannot access scripts, but those who marked have a long story to tell. Project work also has a component of dissemination where a learner is supposed to publish a project report through newspapers, exhibition, magazines, or library. How then does this report reach UNEB for assessment? Madam Speaker and members, it's worth noting that the marking exercise was disrupted by examiners boycotting over low pay and heavy workload, leading to recruitment of new examiners who may have lacked experience or training in the marking process. How can Ugandans trust the competence of these examiners? Madam Speaker, the question is, how did UNEB get 20% to add up to the 80 where there were no inspectors for project work from schools? Did UNEB just award the scores? Is there evidence of project work in schools? Certification. As part of the new lower secondary curriculum, the minister promised dual certification, UCE and DIT. However, the implementation of DIT was halted midway. Madam Speaker, can this House be updated on what is being done to realize this dual certification? Senior 5 selection criteria. Students under the transitional program in 2023, in addition to the many who got result 2 and 3 under the new curriculum, did not qualify for UNEB certification. Can this House be updated on the fate of learners who were declared failures and what plans the Ministry of Education has for these students? Actually, Madam Speaker, I raised it here and thank you for giving me that room. What is happening today, all our students who come from private schools, who got A's and had applied, for example, St. Mary's Kisubi, Namagunga, they have taken them, but St. Mary's and those, I'm giving examples, not particularly those particular schools, they have refused to give those young people the science courses they want because these schools had their students in the O level they want to take. And as a result, these ones from private schools, they are going to run away after being sent there by selection. They will not, because they have refused to give them the courses they want. And that is for the ministry. That's another food for you. What are the recommendations from the shadow minister? Issues, we propose this. Government must prioritize teachers training and recruitment, particularly in languages like Kiswahili. There is no shortcut, and the teachers are there. Government should, with concern, invest in school infrastructure, including ICT and science laboratories. Madam Speaker, UNEB should supervise the assessment of the 20% awarded to learners as done in other subjects like French, music, and fine art. I did the music. UNEB came and I had the externals came, I did the practicals before them, and I passed. Even in language, we had the same. In the conclusion, Madam Speaker, Right Honourable Speaker, it is evident that the Ministry of Education and Sports has faced significant challenges in implementing the new lower secondary school curriculum, as reflected in the unexpected and surprising results of 2024 cohort. This will go a long way to see great improvement in the dissemination of the competence-based new lower secondary curriculum. I have attached the different annexures which informed this statement, and they are, I beg to lay.
Let's lay.
This is the statement of release. No, the statement of release of results of UCA under the competence-based curriculum, where UNEB gave its own evidence that they had challenges in correcting the 20% and competence-based. I beg to lay. Madam Speaker, this is the statement.
What is that you have laid?
Hmm?
What have you laid?
This one, I want to read this, Madam Speaker. Statement of release of results of the 2024 Uganda examination certificate of education UCE examination under the competence-based curriculum. This was for UNEB, but because I have referred to it in my statement, I want to, it is an extra, I want to lay.
Okay.
Then I talked about challenges they faced by Uganda National Examination Board continuous assessment observation checklist for the project. This is a document of 12 pages, which was supposed to be filled by every child, and it is believed that it could not work out because a school getting copies for every child, it was very costly, and as a result, they must have used some methods to move and get marks. I beg to lay. Then, Madam Speaker, this is the Uganda National Examinations again. Continuous assessment observation checks list. This one must be photocopied, I think, every day for every child. Every day. For every child. And you can know the expense it requires. I also beg to lay. And Madam Speaker, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity. But otherwise, we need, there is no going back. But how do we correct the challenges you have in the new lower secondary school curriculum? You see, the fact is, Madam Speaker, children failed. And if they fail, we must address the challenge as Parliament and as government. Madam Speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shadow. I am happy the Shadow is saying we cannot go back. We can only work on what is there for us to improve and get better results and continue with the curriculum. And that's a very good recommendation. On the issue of promotion of Swahili, remember we budgeted for it. We budgeted for Swahili, and it should really, Minister of Education, I hope that budget went to Minister of Education, because it should be Minister of Education to implement, to pay the teachers. And then the issue of infrastructure is a very serious matter. Because in this continuous assessment, in the, what exam is that where somebody, the project work. In the project work, you will find a kid who says, for me, I want to do swimming. I want to be assessed in swimming. Now, the school does not have a swimming pool. What do you do? The kid says, I want to do this. And you must assess that kid. So the issue of the infrastructure is talking about is very crucial. Very, very crucial. It may not be in computer alone, but also look at the labs, look at libraries, and all that kind of thing. And you find most of these problems are mostly in government schools. Yes, Obi.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Okay, manager.
Right Honorable Speaker, for a record, it's true we went to the same school for a record. I want to thank the Shadow Minister, because what he has highlighted is actually what is happening in the public. And this is not a matter of whether government or opposition. This is what is actually happening. Right Honorable Speaker, many government schools really lack what government is asking for. Many of them in our constituencies. The government, UNEB examines students in computer literacy. Many of our schools in the villages, including seed schools, lack computer labs.
But leave alone lacking computer labs. Do they have power?
That's where I'm coming. Those that have power lack computer labs. Those that don't have power lack both computer labs, computers, and actually the power. And these are examinable. These are examinable courses. I have a child in SMAC, and I found a parent who no longer desired and prayed for that her child should go to SMAC. And the reason she was giving on reporting there, and that's when she got to know that what she was looking for was not actually in SMAC. Because she wanted her child to go to Germany after senior 4, so that the child stays there, and she was planning a better life for. That's the on reporting day. That's when the school administration told her that no, we no longer teach German here, because we were instructed to select one language. So that's when the parent got to know. And after the child had already been admitted. So there are very many. But also there's the other issue of not granting a certificate to someone who has failed.
Who has got a 2?
Who has got a 2? Who
Result
actually,
2.
Right Honorable Speaker, failure doesn't mean that you should not be. This is not a reward. This is an award. So the assumption is that when you fail, you don't get a certificate. The certificate is like a reward. No, this is an award that indeed you sat and failed. And this is evidence. This is evidence that you failed. Otherwise, because there are somewhere where you ask, did you sit? There's a difference between did you sit senior 4 or did you pass senior 4? Those are two different things. So that student should have evidence that indeed he sat. That's why some parents think, and there's this illusion is in the public, that when you don't get a certificate, you have to go back to senior 1. That's the assumption in the public. No. Because you are seeing a child who has studied from senior 1 to senior 4 and comes back without a certificate. So yes. Really, there's somewhere, Honorable Minister, where we...
Honorable Minister, they are saying much as you failed,
yeah,
you should be given a certificate to show that you failed.
Because there are institutions where they give...
Because what is outside there in the public is that because you do not have a certificate, you're going to go back to S1, which is not correct. Yes.
As I conclude, because some institutions even give certificates of attendance. And we have seen people trying to contest for positions. They put together all their certificates of attendance. And those are equivalent to attendance. So if someone who went to an institution and studied for maybe 2, 3 months or 6 is getting certificate of attendance, what about the one who sat and studied for a full 4 years? Really should get certificate. Otherwise, we are going to send everybody to NASA Road to manufacture certificates.
Noya.
Madam Speaker, permit me to
Noya.
say that there is transcript and certificate.
Noya. Honorable Minister, take note of all the questions and then you respond. And honorable members, don't repeat what your colleague has said, so that we're able to, all of us, to be able to deliberate upon. Noya?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Flavia doesn't
I
even
would
know
like
her
to
neighbor.
thank Honorable here for bringing us a summary of the key issues that we have been grappling with. Madam Speaker, maybe to begin with the previous speaker, it is not true that when you sit senior 4 and you fail, you get nothing. If you fail to get certificate, you get a result slip. That shows that you have actually failed. Yes. So it is not true.
Honorable members, listen carefully so that nobody raises that issue again.
Sure. So that it is not true that you don't get something to show that you have sat senior 4. Madam Speaker, it is very important that this is competency-based examination. And it should not be, nobody should be shielded from the fact that she has scored well or she has failed. My request to Minister is to make clarification in those gradings.
A, B, C.
A, B, C, D. It must be very clear and precise. Because as you go for examination, and it is competency-based curriculum, you want to be number 1. You want to be number 2. You want to be excellent. You want to be the best in the country. And this should be very clear. Lastly, Honorable Minister last year told us the training of teachers. And she, in her report, she said there were regional trainings. One took place in St. Joseph College, Laibi in Gulu, and it was a TOT, training of trainers. Madam Speaker, after the TOTs were never facilitated to take this training.
So continue with the other training.
Continue with the training. And this is the gist of the matter. That up to now, the training has not reached the last teacher there. And we have gone into these examinations when many teachers are still green about what is being examined. I thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Much as you did the TOT, but the TOTs have not disseminated the information up to the lowest teacher. Yes, Matov?
Thank you, Right Honorable. I also want to thank the Shadow Minister for the report. Actually, it captures everything. Right Honorable Speaker, first of all, I want to make some amendments. The State Minister for Education previously stated that at result 3 and 4, you will not qualify to get a certificate. But what he did not do is to say whether if somebody does not qualify to get a certificate, can he redo those particular subjects where he failed, then to qualify for a certificate.
Is that what the minister said, that no, you do not qualify?
Actually, yes. You don't qualify for a certificate, but they give you a transcript. So there is no provision. The amendments I want to make is that we have a provision for someone to redo those particular subjects, then to qualify for a certificate. Then
maybe if I could ask, when you fail in a class, don't you repeat that same class?
Actually, apparently in post-secondary,
Aisha, I'm not talking about retakes, I'm talking about as the equivalents. When you fail, say in S2, you fail a particular subject, don't you repeat?
no, it depends on the percentage or the pass mark. But what happens, Right Honorable, at lower secondary, senior 3 or 4, you are qualifying to go to upper secondary, okay? Now, if you fail that particular subject, you don't get, according to the minister, you don't get a certificate, okay? What he did not improvise, that you can redo what you failed to qualify at the end of it for a certificate.
Okay.
Then secondly, Right Honorable, I've seen and I've heard what you said, that we cannot go back since we have the competence-based curriculum already. But I worry that we might suffocate in between. Because
I said you don't go to S1 the way it is portrayed outside there. What people understand out there, that if you start S4 and you go to back to S1,
no.
That is the misinformation that we are trying to say. That is not correct.
That is
that
not
should
correct.
be corrected.
That is not correct, Right Honorable Speaker. And then the issue that they start the material for the competence-based curriculum is not in line with what all other schools have. I would hope that the minister would provide to the country what kind of material would be adequate or needed for the subjects to be conducted elsewhere. And then lastly, the last statement I want to make, Right Honorable, when you look at the grading, he made notion to A, B, C, D, E, and F. He said F is the failure.
At E.
It stops at E. I wanted us to amend and delete E and then have F. Because,
why?
Right Honorable Speaker, worldwide, in academics.
Honorable members, let's not go into operational. We are not the ones who did this curriculum. We are not the ones who did the grading. It has come to our knowledge that we need to have some things debated upon and understood by the public. So for us to start saying, delete this and put this.
Right Honorable, this is an opinion that is subject to your guidance, and I thank you for that.
Thank you.
And then as I wind up, Right Honorable, the issue of having the infrastructure, like you said.
2 minutes, because now the people are speaking like endless.
Right Honorable,
2 minutes.
The issue of infrastructure would be very much appreciated if all institutions of villages had electricity, and we call for that to have electricity transported at most in all the sub regions of the country. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Musasi, what would it cost us if we handle the rare projects that were not completed the way we are handling the roads, by giving each district, say, 1 billion to finalize on the rare projects? What would it? It is food for thought. You'll come back and give us.
Madam Speaker, your question cannot be answered now. It is something we need to study. And I therefore agree with you that let it be our food for thought.
Yes. We have uncompleted projects. The roads, the poles were dropped in some places. The REA used to do a very good job. But when REA was closed, left with everything. But if we said we are allocating money per district. Per district. What would it cost us? That is something you should think of as we think of the next corrigenda. The next corrigenda. And it should be in this financial year, really. It should be in this financial year. Because people are bleeding down there. People need power. And now when we are talking about this curriculum here, we need power. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. We are into these statements because of our failure to understand the grading. And that is why both the minister and the shadow gave us statements. It's about the grading that most of us were failing to understand. And because of that, I want to first give information, Right Honorable Speaker, that the teachers or the markers that went on strike were actually markers for A-level and specifically physics and mathematics. So those strikes have very little relationships to the grading we are talking about. That is the information I wanted to give. Number two, this gave an opportunity for the shadow minister specifically to highlight the so many problems that we have under education. And I think it is good they have come out, and the issues of power and others have already been talked about, and I'm happy, Madam Speaker, you are requesting or directing our Minister for Finance to make sure that something is done. And from the statement of the shadow minister, I see the biggest problem is around the marking and the grading of the project work. And for me, my suggestion is project work should not be left without boundaries. I mean, not every student is to take anything that they like. For instance, Madam Speaker, you spoke about the swimming pool where there is no, you talked about it. Madam Speaker, just a minute.
Okay, Muse.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I was saying, for me, I would suggest that the issues around project work should be the areas that are in the normal skills training. We don't bring things which are outside the normal skills training. And finally, Madam Speaker, I realize that this competency-based curriculum, we shouldn't have started it at O level. We should have actually started from primary, and it grows upwards. That is my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, Aisha. Hassan. Aisha has refused. Hassan.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, issues of curriculum shifts, it's a long process. And the fact that our country has embraced a new curriculum, it's a whole new level that we need to embrace as a country. But again, issues of readiness need to be addressed. One of the key issues that we need to think about is sensitizing our parents, especially the parents, on this new curriculum. Because there's two important components that parents do not understand. Curriculum is based on assessment, and assessment has two components, which is assessment for learning and assessment for results. Our parents are more inclined in knowing the marks and how their students or their children have performed at schools. And now that drives them away from the whole point of this new curriculum, which is basically a curriculum for or assessment for learning. So the more we focus on explaining these things, especially through our schools, and the knowledge gets to our parents, it will enable this new curriculum process to go on. But Right Honorable Speaker, readiness of this new curriculum is of paramount importance because we have already seen that most of the schools have been challenged in terms of materials used at schools. Some of the schools, especially rural schools, do not have access.
Hassan. Okot.
Thank you. Thank you, the Right Honorable Speaker. I want to address myself on two issues. One, at the beginning of this new curriculum, there was a provision that if somebody has completed Senior 3, then that person will be awarded a certificate from UBTEP. But along the way, that information dies down. Maybe if it is still alive, the minister can help to bring it back because many schools were opting for that. Number two, there's these people, sometimes the 80% that the child is supposed to get as a final marks, there are many things that always arises for somebody not to get the 80%. It could be sickness. It could be maybe somebody might have, anything might have happened. Not that the person is that very poor in knowledge, just that they can get that 80% to make to 20 so that the person can pass with grade 1 or result 1. In these situations, the provision for repeating has not been indicated. It is completely silent. Maybe the ministry should have this process evaluation to be dynamic because not all our children or our students are that they may not get the required pass mark. Somebody may still be wishing to go beyond the level of Senior 4, but due to sickness and whatever thing that may not allow the person to sit and acquire.
Alan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. Madam Speaker, I wanted clarification from the minister. When you use a grading system of ABC, it's almost similar for that of A-level, whereby it's the same system of ABC which is used. So we need a clarification from the minister whereby we may not get confusion between the grading system of A-level and the O-level, because we may come at the same square when the results of A-level are being released of A-level. So we need that clarification. And secondly, on page 8.
Honorable Minister, because the A-level that is going to be released, you'll find somebody has A, that is the grading system.
Yeah, Madam Speaker, secondly, on page 8, the minister gave us, of his statement, he gave us a sample of the transcript, how it looks. I think you could also give us the sample of the certificate, whereby the public is not maybe confused if there are some changes, if possible. Okay. And lastly, the minister should use your structure so that you sensitize and try to sensitize the masses about this new grading system, because it is a big challenge in the public. And lastly, the concept is very good, but the challenge, the practicability, how to implement this curriculum. Like in Nakaseke, most of the schools, Wachato, Chiwoko, Chikamulo,
thank you.
facilities.
As the minister does creates awareness of the new curriculum. Once we have understood the new curriculum, we should also be able to give out information out there about the new curriculum. Madam Teacher, Flavia.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Madam Honorable Speaker, I have two challenges with the curriculum, but I want to appreciate it from a teacher's perspective. The very first reason why I appreciate it is because it's skill-based. Before, as teachers, we are churning out students who we would later on meet on some streets, although my students never were on the streets because I taught in a very good school, so they all passed. But some students under the old curriculum would render teachers helpless, because you find your student at the street looking for a job, wondering why you even ever taught that person, because we are not addressing or meeting their needs. But right now, this new curriculum addresses some of those, so it's a good thing. However, we need to address some of these challenges. The very first one, the issue of evaluating teamwork, values. Those values is very important, because under the new curriculum, students are working together. How are we assessing them, and how are we giving them marks for that? That never came out clearly in your statements, and yet we need it clear, because it's one of the key issues we are trying to promote in the new curriculum for people to have those values. The second one is the issue of the grading, and I'm just going to give a recommendation. It's important, just like Honorable Alan has said, that the Ministry of Education continuously sensitizes both the teachers, students, and others, and parents, to be able to know what this grading is. And this has to be taken on very hard and very tightly in the school starting now. The third issue I have is the new curriculum that's running all the way to A level and the old curriculum. But the new curriculum at A level right now, the information we have is A level is not yet ready with the new curriculum. And yet...
Thank you, Ekudo.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. She has accepted. I'm a teacher. So that's because right now, students are getting selected, but they are going into a new curriculum at A level that's not yet ready. That's bringing in the issue of the teacher competence that are going to be able to take them on. And finally, where are you going to put the students of the old curriculum that failed and they can't be accommodated anymore in O level? Those students are now going to be unaccounted for, and they have no way forward. Thank you very much.
Ekudo.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, my concern is, in Soroti, teachers were asked to go to attend the training. And they attended the training for 1 week. But those who were not able to make it had nowhere to get another training, or to continue, or to go and seek for the training. So I would like to ask maybe the ministry to at least consider such. And also, parents are very happy when they see results that my daughter has passed with the E. Now, the person comes to you that, can you support me? And they are moving up and down. There is no school that takes somebody. Maybe the ministry should come up with some guidance, such that these people will not continue moving with the D. Right Honorable Speaker, the other thing I would like to say is that the schools that have performed well are embracing the program, the new curriculum. Like Ave Maria High School in Igweri, all the children they all passed. And they are very happy. Not they are very happy. But the curriculum is too costly that in the case of project work, you have to really spend a lot. And the schools are really having a lot of the burden. So, Madam Speaker, it is one of the things that I want
Moses, Dennis, Milton,
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Pius.
Madam Speaker, I have two issues. One relates to, Madam Speaker, the way we are fumbling now with the A-level curriculum. It is suggestive that
Who is a fumbler?
Madam Speaker, I'm looking at the ministry.
No, the ministry is not fumbling.
Madam Speaker, let me make it clearer. The way the ministry is fidgeting with the A-level curriculum.
Stop borrowing OHT was one.
Honorable colleagues. Okay. Madam Speaker, of course, you first seek. Madam Speaker, so what is not orderly?
There is an order.
Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, we are discussing the new lower secondary curriculum grading system and in totality. Well aware that the Ministry of Education and Sports, under the leadership of the First Lady, Mama Janet Museveni, with the very three competent state ministers, are working with the technical people to ensure that, Madam Speaker, we roll out the competence-based lower secondary curriculum to A-level.
Hold on. I have something very important. Honorable Musasis wants to get out. You will not go out first, give us a commitment that you're coming to report to us on our 1 billion per district for REA. And remember, that money is what will make these members come back.
Madam Speaker, when I am reporting on the NDP4, I will accompany the NDP4 with the feedback from the request of the House.
Thank you. Honorable members, that is an actual deal. He's going to come with that request fulfilled.
Madam Speaker,
Yes.
Thank you. I want to inform this House that the Ministry of Education, we brought a statement informing this House and informing the public that we are working on ensuring that the lower new competence-based curriculum is aligned to the A-level competence-based curriculum. And this has been time and again communicated.
Honorable Minister, you're responding.
Right, Honorable Speaker, is my brother, a very good friend in order, to say that the Ministry of Education is fidgeting with the A-level curriculum? Isn't that an insult? And is he in order? And I request he withdraws that statement.
Moses, that is really
Madam Speaker.
below the belt.
Madam Speaker, I apologize and withdraw that statement. But what I wanted to make clear is the unreadiness of the Ministry of Education to adopt the graduates.
It is, was it that curriculum passed by this House? The new curriculum.
Madam Speaker, I'm discussing the A-level curriculum. Madam Speaker,
You're discussing about the A-level.
Yes, the graduates of O-level will join A-level. And
they are going to go back to the old curriculum.
That's the problem, Madam Speaker. And even if they were to go...
When are you changing the new
Yes.
the A-level to a new curriculum?
Because some of us, Madam Speaker, have children who have graduated from O-level and are going to A-level.
When are you changing the...
Madam Speaker, we made a statement on this floor that we are aligning the new lower secondary competence-based curriculum to the A level, which is competence-based. This
When?
very fourth, the students who are just joining senior 5, they are going to embrace the
They are going with
competence-based curriculum.
that curriculum into S6. The ones who have just completed are going with that curriculum.
Precisely, they are going with the competence-based curriculum, and that is it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lastly, Madam Speaker, we, like Honorable Migade made it clear here, that we, the island constituencies, have, Madam Speaker, you put it also right, we don't have power, and where it is, or it would be, still the facilities that use power are not available. But island constituencies and communities have no access to primary schools, secondary schools as a requirement or as a commitment by government. We also call upon government and appeal to you. When you are allocating resources,
don't have primaries.
Madam Speaker, I have a sub-county called Mazinga, a whole sub-county. We have only one primary school, and the sub-county consists...
But you have secondaries.
We have 2 secondary schools, Madam.
So how do they get children that go to secondary?
Madam Speaker, those are the challenges. Always we put to the ministry, and they give responses that are looking clumsy sometimes, Madam Speaker.
Honourable Minister, take note. Dennis, Milton,
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. I am very aware that we are discussing grading, but I also want to use this opportunity that we have 2 ministers for education. In my constituency, for example, Butuntumula sub-county, we do not have a single secondary school, government school. So it is very hard, almost impossible, in a rural district, Katikam North County, for children to access free education. I am happy the minister is saying, yes, it is true, he is aware, we do not have one. Secondly, Right Honourable Speaker, I am seeking for clarification from the minister on what happens if a student fails 1 or 2 subjects. Do they have to repeat a full calendar year, or they can retake those subjects that they failed? Lastly, Right Honourable Speaker, is on the minimum entry requirement for students under this curriculum to join tertiary institutions. What is the minimum that is required? Because previously students have not been enrolling where they only failed. So students that have E or D or what is required for enrollment? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, besides grading, which most of the members have alluded to, there is categorization of these grades. Madam Speaker, honourable members, when the results were released, my house had a lot of tension because I had one student that got 7 A's and 2 B's. Then another one got 5 C's and 4 D's. Now they were all categorized under result 1. Now this one was saying, no, you have failed, you have so many CDs and D's. This one said, no, but we are in the same category. So we needed to clarify as far as categorization of grades is concerned.
Thank you.
Madam Speaker, the second issue is about tertiary institutions like my colleague was observing. Last year, the Minister of Education had told us, this house, that they were phasing out recruitment of S4 graduates to nursing institutions and the PTCs. They said there will be senior 6 graduates that will be enrolling for these tertiary institutions. As we talk, schools are already announcing for this recruitment, but the government has not come out to clear to tell people whether they have dropped the other earlier position of saying no more recruitment of senior 4 graduates, it should be senior 6. We should come out clear and tell the country so that we live from a point of knowledge and information. I thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Pius, then Jennifer. Pius, Jennifer, Jessica.
I'd already been given an opportunity.
Yes.
Right Honourable Speaker, I am a teacher by profession, and I'm still teaching. I'm a volunteer teacher at Satito Winnie up to today.
Speak to the microphone.
The other problem is some teachers are totally demotivated, especially the arts teachers, because of the difference in payment. My suggestion is, even if science teachers are being paid more, at least the arts teachers should be given something, at least 50% of what is paid to a science teacher, at least. Because you find a head teacher who did the arts is being paid 2 million, and the teacher in the classroom is being paid 4 million. It is very hard for a head teacher to supervise, and in most cases, the results in schools depend on the management of a school, and the manager of a school is a head teacher. So I propose that at least there should be an enhancement of salaries for arts teachers. Then secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, at least we should do, my suggestion is, let's have a minimum government policy of having at least a school in each sub-county, so that at least we give opportunities to every Ugandan. In my own constituency, Right Honorable Speaker, I have 3 sub-counties without a single secondary school. I submit, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I want to thank the previous speaker about the salary disparity between science and arts. This has caused a lot of problem in Uganda, and he has spoken my mind in that. Second, Right Honorable Speaker, the new curriculum is a very good curriculum. Only that it has been approached wrongly. It has been top-bottom approach. Because some of us, people who are on the ground, are not consulted. And this is exactly why some of these challenges are coming. How I wish it was bottom-top approach. I don't think all these would really arise. And then secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, the government likes working in silo, knowing that this curriculum it needs a holistic approach. Things like ICT, the issues of electricity. When we were celebrating the 39th NRM Day in Maracha District, the NRM chairman, in protest, gave a seed school poor lambs. That's what is common known as Tadoma, for a seed school in protest, because they did not have power, and there are so many schools that are not connected to electricity. So I want to thank you so much for proposing that 1 billion be given to district for electrification. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Jessica. David.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. I want to thank government for this new curriculum. It is what is going to empower our children, our community, to become more self-reliant than what we used to do. However, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I am a teacher by profession. I would have loved that we started this thing from primary, so that we keep building on. When you are advancing, it means you are building on what you have learned. Therefore, I am recommending that if government can take this, let's reconsider starting this thing from primary. To Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I propose that we budget for more money, especially for the practical aspect. If we don't do that, that means we shall fail in implementing this curriculum, because what differentiates this new curriculum from the old one is the practical aspect. And lastly, Right Honorable Speaker, the issue of the infrastructure development, which was presented by the opposition, the shadow minister, this also calls for more money. For example, I have schools which are grass-thatched houses. Therefore, I cannot even talk about electricity if it is grass-thatched, where learners are. What will you expect? Therefore, I think the policy that in all the parishes we should have a primary school, government-aided primary school, that should be taken up seriously.
Thank you. Daudi
Thank you,
Esther.
Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I have 3 issues to raise. Number one, I wanted to ask the Minister to avail us with the plan. How do the ministry intends to have a plan for capacity building for the teachers? This one must be very clear. And then number 2, Madam Speaker, I also would ask the ministry to come out with a comprehensive report of the number of schools without power, number of schools without the library. If they can avail us with all those detailed reports, and then the detailed reports will accompany with the plan. What do they have in place? For how long will they intend to equip the school for the learners to be able to build the capacity very effectively? And then lastly, Madam Speaker, on the issue of the material are very costly. And then we would also ask the ministry to equip the school with the photocopiers, the machines, to allow our children to be able to photocopy freely without any cost. Because if you put, for example, some of the districts like Agago, where we are still facing difficulties, the school is not equipped, we have challenges with security, children are getting difficulty of the payment of school fees, so it will be difficult for them to afford and get the money.
Esther.
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to thank the government for the new curriculum, and I want to thank the Shadow Minister for bringing out these pertinent issues that we are really basing on to enhance the implementation of the new curriculum. Right Honourable Speaker, we have so many issues, and the honourable colleagues have talked a lot, but what we need is to expedite the process of training others. Because one colleague told us that we've only trained the trainers, but the implementers have not been trained. Right Honourable Speaker, I request that the Minister of Finance expedite the process of releasing the money to train this, because the term has started and the studies are continuing. So we need to expedite the process of getting that funding, and we train the rest of the members of the staff who are supposed to do the implementation. Right Honourable Speaker, it is not only the teachers, but all students and the parents and other stakeholders don't know the ranking, the rating, and all that. So it will depend upon the training that will be done by the trainers, the rest of people who are supposed to implement the curriculum. That will lead.
James.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to thank the Shadow Minister for the report. Right Honourable Speaker, we used to have a program called SESMAT for science teachers, where they are taken for refresher training every holidays. And I would like to know whether this program still exists. And if they exist, it will be very important to help our teachers in terms of training so that they understand this program very well. Right Honourable Speaker, this program is very well in a sense that if you go to some area, like in my district, Right Honourable Speaker, if you bring our students to Central here, just take them to a coffee farm. They will not know what is this crop practically. But in paperwork, they know what a coffee is. But if you go to the field, they cannot know. Therefore, taking us to this practical aspect is very important. But what we need is, we need teachers to understand the content and give to our students. Then that is all. I thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Alfred. Isaac. Dakas doesn't know his name.
Thank you. Thank you. You always call me a Dakasi. So I was a bit confused, Madam Speaker.
Okay.
But thank you. Madam Speaker, let me join others to say this has been a great move for our country. I think I would say that the curriculum-based, the competence-based curriculum is the biggest step we have made in education, I think, since colonialism. And I wish we could stop the talk that is guided by exam. Because most of the people who are complaining, even including teachers, they were grown by exam, to the extent that even on this curriculum, they are trying to coach. So I wish we could just focus. It's for me, the issues we are facing, they are necessary for us as a country to face those issues. The issue of capacity building, the issue of retraining and retooling of teachers, those are things we should just confront. But as a matter of fact, this is the way we should go. We have come from a point where our kids could not produce anything. They study up to senior 6. If you ask them, what do you produce? They can't produce anything. UBTEB has proved that after 3 years, you can have a student wire a house electronically, and they can earn money to further their education. So I think for me, those are the sentiments I wanted to put. In Kabaramaido, for us, we need more classroom spaces, we need laboratories, but those are across the country. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Of course, acceptability of a new idea is always not easy. Isaac?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I want to thank you for this opportunity. Madam Speaker, I want to appreciate the government of Uganda for introducing the competence-based curriculum, which in fact should have started some times back. Madam Speaker, I want to appreciate all the other colleagues, but I want to recommend that the cumulative assessment forms, the 12 page forms which were led by Honorable Seungu, to be provided by the government. And for your information, between 2000 and 2004, when I was still a primary school teacher, Ministry of Education, in fact, provided the cumulative assessment forms even for the primary schools. And for your information, this curriculum had in fact started in primary schools. I taught in primary for 20 years. And the curriculum had started, only that there was inconsistency. So I think if that can be done, it will reduce the cost of the curriculum. Secondly, the issue of staffing gap. If we are to really implement this curriculum, we really need to address the staffing gap in all the schools. For example, Madiokolo district, the ministers are aware, operates at 18%. In fact, it is the district with the lowest teachers in this country. And therefore, when you look at the results, it is in one of the least performing. So I think this is cross-cutting. If that...
Isaac? Stella?
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. And I want to thank the Shadow Minister for the report. It was a very good report. It was actually our report. And I liked the ending of that report. It says that we have to not look forward, but rather backward, but to own it up and look forward. I think it was long overdue to adopt this curriculum of competence test, other than going in for the results. To me, there are a few things which I need to emphasize here. The minister, the government must take this in good faith, must roll out a plan. And this plan should be holistic. We should be involving even the stakeholders. I don't know why we do things in boardrooms and we expect others to copy them and implement the later. We have a very good structure in this country. We have local governments. We have got regional offices for education. I don't know why we are not helped to understand this new curriculum. Because all over Uganda, be it some of the teachers, they don't understand the grading. We don't know what's going to happen for the children who are not going to be admitted to schools. We really don't know. So to me, I'm also adding the voice that one, the train of trainers should be, that program must be implemented as fast as yesterday.
Thank you.
Two, the learners and the teachers, for heaven's sake, should be trained to know what they are training and what the students are expected from the training and exams. So far, many countries all over the world have got hotspots. Wherefore, they have embraced solar systems. They have embraced solar systems which are cheaper and accessible to all parts of the country. As I talk right now, most other than Bududa, where I come from, Bududa is even worse, but I believe in other districts are the same.
Stella.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I want to appreciate Honorable Seungu, I hope I pronounce it well, for the, yes, I'm on, for the report that you gave. And I also want to thank the government for the introduction of the new curriculum. This was a curriculum that was appreciated and caused excitement among Ugandans just because it promotes creativity and innovativeness among the learners, and that is what we are looking for self-reliance among our population. But the question is the issue of its applicability. Honorable Speaker, there is an expression of disappointment. Learners have actually expressed that teachers do not know what they are translating to them, because some schools direct students to go and buy textbooks, certain type of textbooks which I believe contain the content that is supposed to be taught in the new curriculum. But as they teach, the teachers teach something different as compared to what is in this curriculum, which the learners expect the teachers to explain to them. So this has caused mistrust and actually has led to loss of confidence and trust among students.
Honorable Nzima.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to thank Honorable Seungu for the report and also the Minister who had laid his report the other day. I have observation in 3 areas. One is the issue of continuity. Much as the Minister has said, the students who have sat their examination and who are supposed to be admitted in A-level are going to continue with the same program. This seems not to be the information on ground. Much as the curriculum for A-level is already there, but the information is there is no money availed to train A-level teachers. Most of the trainings were for O-level. Also, money has not been availed for publishing books or acquiring books for A-level. So the element of continuity, as the Minister has said, is not true. These students are going to be admitted, it seems to be on the old what? On the old curriculum. But then also, Madam Speaker, it is important to appreciate the new curriculum. I equally support it because it promotes innovation, critical thinking, research, and also self-learning. Madam Speaker, some of the components of the learning, I don't know whether it is friendly to the poor people. For example, one of the observations by Honorable Seungu that learners are supposed to publicize their project work in the media, on these the newspapers. How can this be possible to an ordinary person? So yes, we can do the innovation, bring new teaching methods.
Kumi.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Right Honorable. I appreciate the Minister and the Shadow Minister for the reports. Madam Speaker, one, I want to actually challenge the Ministry of Education and Sports to engage with the Ministry of Energy. As a member of Environment and Natural Resources Committee, last week we were engaged on a new program, that is UECCC, that's the Uganda Electricity Capitalization Credit Company. And they gave us a list of companies that are able to provide modern solar products that can handle even computer services in the schools. If the ministry does that, it would now remain a task to Parliament to see that we allocate more money under under USE, so that some solar panels can be bought as we wait a completion of the electrification. Madam Speaker, on grading, I want to challenge the minister in the forthcoming certificates. Let there be interpretation for the results. Because in O level right now, E is a fail. But in A level, E is a pass. So that's why I support the colleague that the parents are not able to interpret the grades and know which one is a pass and which one is a fail. How does the new curriculum cater for children who miss coursework? Madam Speaker, especially in the private schools, they send fees defaulters away. They can send them away then for, okay. They can send them away for the whole month, 2 months. When they return, it finds them when they have no results for the coursework, and yet these results contribute to the overall grade.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also appreciate the government for introduction of the new curriculum. But I know transition can't be easy, Madam Speaker. And I urge the Ministry of Education to take our submissions in good faith. Because there is public outcry. As leaders, we are being approached even by teachers, especially A-level. And they show that they are not yet ready to receive the senior 5 students, to take them on. So when you are submitting here, Madam Speaker, we are alerting the Ministry of Education. We appreciate the new curriculum, but the ministry should put more effort to see that we transit, because we are on the future of this country. These children, they are the ones to be here tomorrow after us, but we are supposed to prepare them and prepare for them. The ministry, really, I appreciate the shadow minister for the report. I'm from this side, but we take it in good faith. And even the ministry should take it in good faith, so that we can get a solution, a better solution for this country. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
We need to work together for the good of this country. Alebtong, Donald, Education, Nathan.
Thank you.
Cuthbert.
Thank you, Right Honourable
Speaker.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I would like to implore the Minister that even though she has already mentioned that we have done TOT, I would like to implore her and the Ministry to consider serious refresher training for those who were already trained. I already have information that most of the schools who were trained, those in the rural areas and those within Kampala and areas around Kampala, have been doing their grading in a different way. Whereas UNEB and the National Curriculum Development Center at the end came up with a new grading system, that one which is ranging from A up to E. Schools have been using the max range, which is 2.5 to 3.0, that is for outstanding. And then 1.5 to 2.49, considering it as moderate. That is totally different from what came out with UNEB, and that's why all over the country, parents and students themselves were also shocked to see a different grading system. I implore the ministry, please help to do a refresher training even for those schools and those teachers who are already trained in this new curriculum. Otherwise, it is a very good thing. We welcome it as a country. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right Honourable Speaker, I will start from where my sister from Aleptong has stopped. Right Honourable Speaker, when you see the confusion at UNEB and the surprise the students got when they got UNEB results, it shows to us that even at stakeholder level, we are not yet mobilized for this new curriculum. Right Honourable Speaker, my submission regards the competition within students. Right Honourable Speaker, the targets our students set at O level is what motivates them to read very hard, Right Honorable Speaker. Initially, students would say to get maybe 8 in 8. Those are distinction 1, 1, 1, 1. And those who fail would get 9, 9, 9. We call them kadenges. But in the current grading, Right Honorable Speaker, it is very difficult for the ordinary Ugandan in the rural area to celebrate whether a student has passed or not. My colleague, Honorable Milton, hinted on it. You find somebody getting AAA, somebody getting CCC, all of them are celebrating. But as a result, 1. But initially, we would know school X, people have got 8 in 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Others have got maybe 10 in 8. We want the minister to be very clear. Who are these who have got 8 in 8, for example? Who are those who have got 10 in 8? Who are those who have got 9s in everything? So that our communities are aware. Right Honorable Speaker, the minister needs to roll out the mobilization and sensitization to all communities, because even us at parliament level, some of these things are still not very clear. What do you expect with our rural people in the communities? Right Honorable Speaker, I submit.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I'm just giving information. Now, when it comes to grading, I was a culprit in 1982 when UNEB wrote a letter to all schools in April 1982 that we are no longer going to have 100 out of 100, we are no longer going to have 260 or what, and they started counting 1, 2, 3. So I was among the culprits. So when a change comes, with the time, because previously they used to do ABCD, and it was a matter of shading. So we're the first ones who started by writing, and we wondered whether we would pass, but we passed. So what is important is that the ministry should continue doing reviews, that where you have gone wrong, you always perfect. Now, for grading of O level, what happens is that since there is that bit of project or the practicability of it, somebody can have EEE, but eventually there is a C, which is a good pass in practicals. So meaning, this person has not totally failed. Then 2, there is what is written behind the certificate in the faint form, telling you about the grading. That from this to this, that is an A, from this to this is a C. So it is always behind the overleaf. This is always given. By the Minister of Education, the reviews are very important, and I'm sure we shall move forward. I thank you very much.
Thank you. Cuthbert.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to join my colleagues to appreciate the Shadow Minister for the statement, but also the report that was read by the Minister of Education. Right Honourable Speaker, Right Honourable Speaker, I just started. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, I want to congratulate the Minister of Education for churning out the pioneer students under the new curriculum. And Right Honourable Speaker, my appreciation is only in one aspect, that it seems the old curriculum was really condemning our children as failures. Right Honourable Speaker, when these results were released under the new curriculum in the whole of Kamwenge district, we did not register any student in result 2, so all our children passed in result 1. And for that matter, we do not have failures in Kamwenge under the new curriculum. But Right Honourable Speaker, under the old curriculum, we used to register some. So for me, I'm quite happy that the new curriculum is supporting us to ensure our children pass. And Right Honourable Speaker, every time we swear in, the first submission of members of parliament in this house is never put to order, never put to point of procedure, because it is a maiden speech. So I want to regard the first set of results raised by Minister of Education as a maiden results under the new curriculum. So therefore, we expect that definitely there could have been issues, but there is room for continuous improvement. And as a house, as a country, let us support the Minister of Education to improve continuously. Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Minister of Education, you should listen to all the advices, all the concerns, and see where you can make changes. It's not just a matter of getting defensive, but where changes can be made, we should be able to make changes, because it is a maiden thing. You will not assume you know it all. You don't know it, we all don't know it, we are learning, and we must work with it. Yes, Angora?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. You've rightly said it, that let the Minister of Education take concern in all the interests that have been raised. Madam Speaker, on Saturday, I had a big funeral in my constituency that attracted very many mourners. And some parents raised this concern of the good results that had been realized in most of the schools. And I did ask teachers who were within the funeral to come and explain this concern, good concern, but also for the benefit of the parents. Teachers were pushed from every tent, and they resisted to come in front to explain. One teacher came, and they tried to explain. And they said, yes, we are many here, but we all seem not to understand these good results, but also the curriculum. So, as it was alluded to by the Honorable Sewungu, continuous teacher training as far as this appreciation of the curriculum is very important. Madam Speaker, I want to thank you for the concern that you've raised to the Minister of Finance, that let's see how to facilitate every district with the funds to enable us meet the demands of infrastructure as far as like concerns of electricity and others is involved. So, Madam Speaker,